meditation, take time out during the day just to stop and let go of thought. Some people do it through maybe a puzzle or doing a painting. I'm working with a group of people in climate change at the moment, and what they're doing is they're taking time during the day to do a small picture illustration of what they feel about today. And every day everyone looks at each other's, and they just have taken the time to slow their thinking down, slow their constant striving down, and get into the zone of creativity. And then when they come out of that, they become fresh again and are able to pick up the work that they were doing prior. Fantastic idea. And also some of my crews that I work with on creativity play cards during the day. You know, a quick game of Snap, or a wonderful game that I love and I've played with my people. It's called Speed, very fast, and it just brings the energy focused on that, and it allows you a break from, you know, being on it all the time, and it's a great way to develop our creativity. The other thing is no boundaries. Make sure that we have the boundaries that we need to do what we need to do. It's okay to say no. One of the things that I heard recently was no is a complete sentence. We need to have boundaries around what we can and can't do. We need to have the courage to say, I'm really interested in that project. I'm getting to that, and I have it scheduled in for next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Or I do want to work with you on that project, and I really suggest we make a time to do that next Friday, and I'll bring everything I have with me then. So put the boundaries around when you can help and when you can work. Don't just drop everything and do something for the next person that's on your list, because that's not encouraging creativity. The other thing that we talked about is be a finisher and finish your work. You owe it to yourself. If you think you are good enough to start the project, continue to believe that you're good enough to finish it. If you've invested all this time, energy, and probably money, yours or the company's money, you have to believe in yourself to finish that project. And the last one is to trust yourself and your team. Just trust the ideas that come your way. Speak out. Trust your team's ideas. Allow them their voice. And that's the thing about writing. Writing is allowing somebody's voice to be heard. And not everybody can speak out. But if we create an environment in our business teams or our creative teams where everyone is heard, then you're going to create a really vibrant, creative environment.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vicki. Hi, Timothy. And some comments from the audience. So failure is just a stepping stones towards growth, from Sebastian, absolutely. And that's how a mentor helps you, by giving you the reality check. Rejection is an opportunity to grow. Absolutely. And just to sum up, you call them the creativity, the entrepreneur creativity boosters. I love this term. I'm going to borrow it from you. So we talked about the importance of active listening. So not just listening, but really actively listening with 100% of your attention. We talked about mindfulness and being present in the moment. Because it's true that very often when you ask people, when you ask anyone, when you ask myself, how are you? People say, I'm busy. I'm constantly busy. And trying to get out of this busyness and turning it into a mindfulness. So instead of doing 100 things at the same time, I'm doing one, but I'm 100% focused. I'm mindful of my time and my priorities. We talked about setting the boundaries, which is really important, and meditation, how you really take that time to reflect. Being a finisher, I think this is so critical. As we said, we all have amazing ideas, but very often we get stuck somewhere. We don't go all the way to the finish line. And as a triathlete for myself, I always have the finish line on side, and I don't finish the race. I'm either fainting or I'm making it to the finish line. But having the finish line in mind, I think it's something that really helps you get there and cross it. And the idea of listening to all the voices as a consultant in diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is so important. I remember at Apple, my boss, who was the general manager, his name was Dennis Bulls. He used to say, let the best idea win, because people get caught in their ego, that your idea has to win, when in reality, it's much smarter to say, that's a great idea. I'm going to pick on that idea. And as a team, we're going to make it better. And this is how Apple operates. This is how they operate. It's not an ego center, it's an eco center. So thank you for sharing these productivity boosters. And we've talked about the mindset, we've talked about the behavior to be creative. I'd like to finish today talking about the processes and the systems, because being creative and having creative behaviors is great, but you need to have a process if you want to really scale that creativity. I know that you use many different systems. One thing that you mentioned last time that I thought was super exciting and the audience would be interested in is the creative spreadsheet. What is that?
Well, I keep a spreadsheet on all of my projects, and I write everything down, and I write any ideas that came out of the meeting or came out of the discussion on my creative spreadsheet. And I also keep the left and the right brain information on it. So the left brain is the analytical, logical information that I get. The time of the meeting, who was here, what was the outcome, what's the future benefit. But then I'd put all the creative stuff in too. Who said what, how I heard something, what needs to be actioned, what needs to be followed through. So I then have my spreadsheets in an area, and I make sure that I just touch, what do I call it? I call it my 15 touches a day. So my touch is that I touch that particular project and I add something to it on my creative spreadsheet, whether I've spoken to somebody or whether I've sent an email or whether I've actually reworked some words or added some more information to the workbooks perhaps. I add that as well. So with those touches going, I know that I need to have my 15 touches a day. And if I do that, I keep all of them going, because when you keep all of them going, they're all coming to the finishing line with you. And if you just do one from beginning to end, only one comes to the finishing line. But if you're doing 15 touches a day, they're all coming with you. And when you withdraw, as Leonardo da Vinci said, we have to stand back from our creative endeavor and have a break. So when you have a break from it, your subconscious mind is over there working on another project, and they're somehow connected, and they gain I guess a life of their own by all moving forward together. So I really suggest that you have systems in place so that you can record the progress and that you can keep them all moving together at the same time. And it's magical. It's where we create magic, because the creative mind loves magic. So next time you're out and about and someone says to you, "How was your day?" as you asked before, your answer is, "It's really creative. Thank you. I got a lot achieved in my creative space today." And they look at you and they think about it and they think, "Oh, that's interesting." I usually hear a litany of what's gone wrong or how hard they work. And let's not be competitive for how hard we work. It's not good for our creativity. Let someone else win that argument. It's not a competitive sport, working hard. Working diligently, effectively, creatively, from our heart, from our left and our right brain, all working together. That's what we need to strive for as creative beings.
Oh, I love it. And I personally set a commitment for myself to not answer "I'm really busy" when someone asks me, because I love languages. I speak several languages. And I also notice that the way you speak to yourself and to others, it influences the way that you think. And when you're saying "I'm busy," I'm becoming this person who is busy and working on a million projects. And I don't want to be that person who is always busy. So I want to be mindful of the way that I speak as well, because that really helps with my creativity as well. But Vicki, I want to be very conscious and respectful of people's time. We have a couple of minutes before we finish. We've covered all the topics that we wanted to talk about creativity, how it starts with the mindset and removing the limiting beliefs that we are not creative. We are, by nature, we're creative. That's what humans are. I can see that in my little children. behavior. We've talked about the behaviors of putting your hand up and really taking rejection as an opportunity to grow and to continue to boost that creativity. We've talked about the processes in place and how it's important to really bring that creativity, crystallize it into words, because otherwise it's just a bunch of ideas flowing in your head. And you talked about your productivity booster. So I hope the audience got a lot from today's conversation. I know that I did. And before we go, I would love for you to share where people can find more about you and how to continue boosting their creativity in business.
Well, most definitely vickybennett.com.au, but this is a wonderful book that came out recently, The Book of Hope, Antidote for Anxiety. And if you want to find out about creativity, it's in here. Now, if you want to create more love in your life, self-love, as well as love of others, this is the book, 100 Keys to Love. And this has a lot about how to see love in a creative spirit way. And that's one of my favorites at the moment. And this came out also this year, 100 Keys to Hope. It's in Japan as well as in English, and it's a great little one. You can just think of something that's challenging you and open it up. And here's a good one. When you wake up every day, feel grateful for what you have rather than worrying about what you don't have. Don't wait for good things to happen before being grateful.
I love that. And for the audience, don't worry, we're not going to go through the 34 books that Vicki has published. You can find them online. One last thing from my side, I'm very excited that I just launched my first actionable guide that is called the Lemon Tree Mindset. I'm about to launch a second actionable guide, but I won't say too much about that because I'm waiting for International Workers' Day for that. And for all of you who joined us today, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you, Vicki. It was a pleasure to have you. And I hope to see you very soon again.
You will. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And here's something I created. After a trip to Bali, I came home and painted that because it was just inside of me and I had to get it out. So I encourage you to do that. If it's inside of you, let it out. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.